there, my name is Megan and welcome back to my channel and happy Valentine's Day everybody. So today I'm going to be talking about my top 5 favorite romances and adult fantasy books. But before we go ahead and get on into the list, if you are not already subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button as well as the little bell icon so you can be notified every time I post new bookish content. I post new content every Monday, Thursday, and Saturday, and sometimes other days throughout the week. Also, don't forget to check down in the description box below for links to all of my social medias, my Buddy Read Discord, and my Patreon, where you can be entered in winning book giveaways. Some of these romances may be spoilery, so I'm going to go ahead and put timestamps down below for the different books and couples that I'm going to be talking about, so you can skip ahead if needed. I am going to be ranking these in order from number 5 to number 1, and starting with my 5th favorite couple is from the Wheel of Time series, and it is Lan and Nynaeve. The reason that I like Lan and Nynaeve's relationship so much is because, number one, it's very slow burn. It's not always, or it's not immediately evident that there's going to be a romance between the two of them. It develops slowly over the course of the series. And I also think that these two characters are just completely opposite, because you have Nynaeve, who's extremely stubborn and defiant, and she has a temper. And then you have Lan, who's like just cool and composed all the time, and it's really hard to rile him up. So the two of them are just complete opposites that come together, and I think that they balance each other really well. And then we also have Lan being a warder, and he is bonded with Moiraine and, pledged to serve Moiraine, and he's not supposed to get married. So then we have that whole conflict of, knowing that he has to be loyal to the Aes Sedai, and then having a woman that he loves, and just that inner conflict of his. So I think that Robert Jordan did a good job developing their romance and adding in some good conflicts to add some drama to it. The next couple comes from the Black Prism series by Brent Weeks, and this is Karis and Gavin Gyle. The reason that I like Karis and Gavin Gyle so much is that it actually has to do a lot more with their history than actually what happens in the book. So I am going to go into spoilers here, so please, if you have not read this series, skip ahead. But if you have read this series, you know that Gavin Gyle is actually not Gavin Gyle. He is Dazen Gyle, masquerading as Gavin Gyle. And so if you know the history between Dazen and Gavin and Karis, you know that Karis was betrothed to Gavin, not because she wanted to be, but because her father forced her, and then she and Dazen fell in love. And Gavin was a complete jerk, was horrible to her, but Dazen, on the other hand, loved her and respected her and honored her, but she thinks that Dazen is dead. So Dazen has been masquerading as his brother Gavin, whom she absolutely loathed, and they're forced to work together. And she's always questioning, like, Gavin, how did you just come back from war? The False Prisms War completely changed. You're not even the same person. And Gavin and Dazen look so much alike that it was, easy, I guess, to trick Karis. And then the secrets come out, and she realizes that it's in fact Dazen, and that her long-lost love is actually alive, and they're able to rekindle their relationship and get married. And, Karis thought that she wasn't going to be able to have any of those things, when in fact she can. And it was really, I guess, an interesting way to go about a relationship in this book. But I really like how Weeks developed the backstory of their relationship and just like the reveals that happen throughout the book. My next couple comes from The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and this is Addie and Henry. And the reason that I liked their romance is because they actually are the only two people in the entire world that can fulfill each other's needs. And what I mean by that is that both of these characters are cursed. So Addie is cursed that no one will remember her, and then Henry is cursed that anytime anybody looks upon him, they will only see what they desire most. And since Addie only desires to be seen and remembered, Henry is able to do that for her. So they actually are able to fulfill what each other needs, which I think is what originally draws them together emotionally. But I think that this book has one of the strongest themes of love in any book I've read, because it's self-sacrificial love. So we see at the end of the book that in order to save Henry's life, because he entered into a deal with the devil or Luce, and he only has so much time to live, in order to save his life, Addie sacrifices herself to Luce in order to satisfy that debt. And for me, self-sacrifice is the strongest, I guess, indicator of love, and that's exactly what Addie did. So obviously that scene hit me in the feels really strongly, And even though I feel like their relationship was one slightly of convenience because they were fulfilling each other's needs and the only people that could, it was still a love story. They still loved each other enough for Addie to give her life essentially for him. So very, very strong ending to this book and one that has stuck with me. Next, we have Vin and Ellen from the Misborn series, and the reason that I like these characters so much is because their relationship kind of starts off under false pretenses. She's pretending to be a noblewoman's niece or daughter called Valette, so she is attending all these balls to essentially spy, and she kind of attracts the notice of Ellen. Ellen is the son and the heir of one of the most powerful noble houses, and he really can't stand his father. His father is very despicable, so Ellen's always doing everything he can to addle and needle his father, and all he does is want to like read and study, and he really exerts a lot of effort to understanding like the ska, or like the lower class population of which Vin is part. So you have kind of that like upper class person falling in love with that lower class person under false pretenses, which is a trope that I really like. And then you also have Ellen, who's just your unconventional nobleman. But then their relationship expands so much more. So by book 3, like Ellen and Vin are a power couple because Ellen is emperor, Vin is this crazy powerful Misborn. And what I love is that Ellen's like doesn't do anything to inhibit Vin. Like he recognizes that she is her own person, that she is powerful, that she's got responsibilities that extend outside of their relationship and, you know, his duties as emperor. And he allows her to, you know, save the world and be a part of that and fight in these battles. And he just is so supportive of her and, you know, her talents and her abilities, and doesn't try to keep her in a box and keep her safe, even though he does worry about her. So I just loved like their humble beginnings, the growth of their relationship, and just the way that they were such like a huge couple, power couple at the end of the book. Coming in at number 1 comes from the world of Rob and Hob in Fitz Chivalry's world, and that is Fitz and Molly. So their relationship started way early on in this series, just as two friends, and from the get-go, Fitz is really, really in love with Molly. And that love never subsides throughout all of the books that I read. I'm currently on the first book of the Fitz and the Fool trilogy, and still their love is going strong. And like this is a love that Fitz does not give up on, even when he thinks that he will never ever be able to be with Molly, have a life with Molly. He still is in love with her and thinks about her. And then we actually learn that she also loved him all this time also. I don't want to spoil anything too much in the series, but just know that both of these characters, anything and everything happens to them to keep these two characters apart, but in the end they're still able to follow their hearts and come back together and get married. And one of the things I just read in Fitz and the Fool is that Fitz says that Molly, going back to Molly, is like going home, and that was just like such a sweet line because it just shows the depth of his love even more than the reader already knows. So it's just a relationship that's grown over the course of these books, and I'm just happy that something good happened to Fitz because usually it doesn't. All right, you guys, those are 5 of my favorite romances in adult fantasy. Let me know in the comments some of your favorite romances, or if you've read any of these books and what you thought of them, and I will see y'all in another video soon. Goodbye.